Greetings to all. I'm Kristi Koch, current chair of the Ministry of Finance, and I'm here today representing our group and kicking off our annual stewardship campaign. We have some fantastic people on our ministry, and if you are here, I encourage you to stand up and be recognized. Steve Meaden, Charmaine Uphouse, John Hamilton, Ricky Waniger, Dave Ring, Dave McDowell, and Sue Ellen Retzloff. Thank you, ministry members, for all your hard work. We're a passionate group of people that have been tasked with monitoring the monthly financial statements of the church and ensuring that our expenditures are in line with the budget. Our ministry also reviews the budget for the upcoming year and makes suggestions to ensure that it is adequately funded. A few years ago, the Memorial and Endowment Committee was folded into the responsibility of finance, and therefore we also discuss and approve monetary requests from members of the congregation for items or events that are not part of the regular church budget. Yes, just as you think, we're a detail-oriented group of folks that are passionate about the financial status of our church. We get into some rather dynamic discussions as we all want the absolute best for our church, despite differing opinions on what that is. However, we do have fun. At our last meeting, we did laugh and we consumed almost 2 pounds of chocolate. My thoughts on generosity today do focus on the monetary aspect. And if you are visiting, I want you to know this is not normally what you're going to hear when you are here. I recall when my husband and I were newly married and we were church shopping. We lived in Ankeny, Iowa at the time. And we would go into a couple of churches, and it must have been their campaign Sundays, and it was all talk about money. We couldn't get out the door fast enough, and I'm quite sure the first thing we said when we got in the car was, "They sound desperate for money. I want no part of that church." So please know, this is not normally what you're going to hear. Our church does, as I said, focus on the monetary aspect, but as we all know, this church does not run on money alone. We've heard stories from the other ministries of what they do, and there are so many people that share their generosity of their time and talent in so many ways. Immense gratitude to those people. Thank you. Every month when the finance ministry meets, we're handed numerous reports that present our current financial standing, and I want to share a snippet of that with you today. Don't tune out. I promise I won't go into too much depth. We're an approximate 325-member church that runs the budget just short of $400,000. On a side note, next year we will probably go greater than that because, as we know, our lovely Kristi Wolf is retiring. We also need to make sure the benefits and the salaries we are offering church-wide are adequate and meet today's standards, amongst some other things that we'll be doing next year. 93% of our budget income comes from your pledges and your gifts in the offering plate. Big amount. Thank you. The remaining percentage comes from other sources, such as our preschool rent and other facility usage. Yes, we are indeed a landlord. We're an employer. We contract services. We're a meeting place. We host events. But most of all, we're a church and a congregation that has been tasked with being God's hands and feet in the world. Someone said to me a while back, "You should figure out how much a Sunday worship service costs." Great idea, I said. I'm all over it. I will do that. I went home to start my new project, excited to figure it all out and share it with you. Completely doable, right? First, I'll figure out the time that Pastor Laura puts towards the service. Easy, right? I don't want to know how much she thinks of the sermon and takes. I'm sure it's a lot. And then it dawned on me as well, sometimes the order of worship. On Tuesday, it's already in production. Oh, great, I can figure, the paper, I can figure out how many pieces of paper, there's something I can put my hands on. Well, how about the heating in here? The air conditioning, the music we enjoy, the cleaning of the sanctuary, the building insurance, the lawn mowing, the snow removal. Perhaps someone had to use the restroom during the service. That adds water, paper towels, and perhaps even some toilet paper. And really, what is Sunday worship without the coffee hour afterwards? That means I need to add in coffee, sugar packets, cookies, more water and paper towels, and dish soap. It was then I stopped and realized many things. How can we stop and focus on just our worship service and narrow it down just to money? Our church is so much more than that. We are a community. We are friends and family. We are a place, you are welcome, no matter where you are on life's journey. You are not judged for who you are or how you are. There is no membership fee and no attendance requirement. Perhaps our kind and encouraging words on a Sunday morning changed someone's life. And furthermore, how do we begin to put a price on the work we carry out in the community? There is so much more that we are. But time is not endless today, and I know you don't want to hear me forever talking, so I will stop. But what is amazing is that your gifts, especially financial, to our church make all of this possible. And kudos to you, members and friends of First Congregational. It is because of you that we can do these things. It is at each and every finance meeting that we are reminded of your generosity. It is your gifts that are reflected in our reports. And no matter how large or small your gift is, thank you. And as a side note, I want to remind you that your pledging amount and gifts that you give to the church are confidential with Tracy, our financial secretary. She is the only one that knows those amounts. It is your gifts, both time and talent and financial, that make our church what it is. Thank you, and thank you. I know that I'm speaking for all of those on finance. Thank you again. Your generosity is much appreciated. Finance is also reminded of the generosity of those who've come before us. We see the generosity of those who left money in specifically directed funds, such as the Furtwängler Audio Ministry Fund, the Mooney Confirmation Bible Fund, the Christensen Bible Fund, the Paul Bolterman Memorial Youth Fund, the Mitchell Youth Fund, the Tamsin Aldrich Esposito Nursery Fund, the Olga Schleider Memorial Organ Fund, the Carl Schubert Parking Lot Fund, the Zara Choir Fund, the Building Fund, the Music Fund, and so many more. The list goes on. And we've had a vast number of people contribute to our undesignated memorial fund, which allows for less directive use of those monies. And I can't forget to mention the large gift we received from Mary Jane Scaff, who was not a member nor attended our church. Her immense generosity came in 2009 at a time we had a budgetary need, but also many large projects were undertaken as a result. Her generosity continues to give forth as we are still utilizing her gift to address deficit budgets, amongst other things. Our forefathers and mothers had faith and foresight that they wanted our church to flourish for years to come. Thanks to their generosity, their gifts continue to give and enrich the lives of many. Let's imagine together what our future as a church will look like. In closing, I hope and pray that you, as a congregation, share the same excitement and optimism that I feel going into 2025. First Congregational UCC La Crosse, Wisconsin has been blessed with wonderful people to carry out God's work. Now we need to get to work. I hope you will join me in financial support of our congregation. We can imagine together what God calls us to do.